New York State is adding more programs designed to better protect survivors of domestic violence and their advocates. And this comes a day after the governor signed a packet of legislation bolstering support. Isabel Garcia spoke to experts about how these measures will help survivors. She joins us in the studio now with that story. Isabel.
Yes, Teresa, those added programs the state announced today include raising awareness of consumer protections that survivors have in New York State, such as address confidentiality, opt-out options for telephone or other service contracts, rental release, things like that. Now, ultimately, advocates say these bills just signed into law are critical to help fill loopholes in the court system.
Once you start to unpack the many reasons that someone might have for not leaving, you start to understand just why these bills are so important.
5 new laws in New York State are strengthening protections for survivors of domestic violence. One of the big measures being championed by victim advocates surrounds orders of protection, specifically when it comes to firearms. Prior to this, it was up to a judge's discretion to even ask the question in the first place.
This makes it so that there's no way around that. So oftentimes, the judge might not ask. Now the judge is required to ask, and they're required to ask both parties, are there firearms in the house? So you might hear from the abusive partner, oh no, it's all good, there's no firearms. And you might hear from the victim, actually, yeah, there's a shotgun up in the attic. And so making sure that the judge has that full awareness of the full situation.
Another bill now signed into law allows voter registration records of survivors be kept confidential in certain cases.
If I don't want you to know where I live, and I want to hide that from you, and then that becomes public because of my voter registration, keeping that address confidential is really critically important. It's not about who you're voting for, it's about your safety.
Survivor advocates believe these new laws will also help encourage victims of domestic violence to seek support.
I do think any information we can get out there to victims that there are laws in place to help you, that the police will come and they will help you. I think that's very, very important because it counters what the perpetrators are telling them all the time.
And it was communicated to me domestic violence knows no boundaries whatsoever. According to Willow's 2021 data report, there were more than 45,000 calls to 911 pertaining to domestic disputes in Monroe County alone, something leaders say truly demonstrates the need for greater protection for survivors. Teresa?
All right, Isabel, thank you. Monroe County officials explained they have a coordinated response to domestic violence that includes a consortium with more than 50 partner agencies, all dedicated to helping victims find the right resources.